Good morning, UIC. Today we're going to talk about the final nail in the coffin of note-taking. Nobody's taking notes no more. So the 340 podcast today talks about AI-powered transcripts within workplaces and schools. Switching to them.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 340 podcast.
I'm Kat.
I'm Ananya.
I'm Giselle.
I'm Suyash.
I'm Salma.
I'm Daniela.
And I'm Angel.
And today we're going to be talking about AI-powered transcripts. So many people are using this instead of the typical note-taking. So can you tell us more about it? What is this like?
How does it work? Okay, I got you. So basically, the system, your computer, any device, it uses this module called ADC, which is a analog to digital converter, to convert sound frequencies to binary data. It reads that data, compares it to the pre-existing massive phonemes library, chooses the most accurate sounding option for that word. Then it accesses an NLP, which is a natural language processing model, to make the best sense of the order of words and to fill in the unrecorded words to just make sense of everything. And every time it does this, it adds that particular experience to the database, so it keeps learning on top of every experience.
So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Okay.
But is it always accurate?
That's the thing. It's not always accurate, but the more people use it, it's machine learning. Okay, machine learning fundamentally means the machine is learning from experiences, interactions with you guys. Okay, so the more people learn it, the more it transcribes frequencies into binary and then back to text and present it to you. The more it realizes what it's doing wrong, what it's doing right, and it gets more accurate every time.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting. So there's a company actually that does this called Abridge by Shiv Rao, I believe that's how you say his name, which is basically specifically for the medical field. So it takes like an AI transcript, like from a Zoom meeting, but it's more medical. So it takes prescriptions or any client concerns or doctor concerns, and over 50,000 clinics use this application. And it can actually decrease the cognitive load by 78%, which can help to make it easier for the doctor and the patient.
So that saves a lot of time, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does. That's
saves a lot of
interesting.
documenting time. Yeah,
Wait, I've never heard about this company though.
me neither. Yeah,
Wow.
but
Are there any more companies?
I don't know. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, but I guess the founder himself says that he uses it too. So. And then introduce it to these other clinics. So
So I'm guessing he likes it.
yeah,
Okay.
yes,
I mean, it makes it efficient, so I guess.
yeah, and it's easier, so why not? I mean, AI is supposed to make everything easier, so
Right. It's like AI generation. Right.
yeah.
So another company actually, this seems more obvious because they use captions for everything, and that is Netflix. But Netflix actually does not do it themselves, so they outsource it to other softwares. They use a bunch of softwares, but they don't always disclose what exact software they use. They almost use like a combination of two or three. You know, one of them is Scribe Buddy, then there's Wizard, there's Oris AI, and all these softwares combined kind of so what they do is the people don't actually watch the whole movie. Of course they're not going to do that. So it reads the audio and then it just transcribes it, and every time it just gets more accurate, as Suya said. And they use something called automatic pre-processing, APP. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. Yeah, it's too technical, but so it involves like sentence simplification. So it simplifies the sentence and kind of breaks it down. So actually,
That's
a lot
useful.
of times, so it's So sometimes you know how it sometimes ends up meaning different than the
Yeah.
actual audio, which is weird.
That
And
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think that's one of the drawbacks too.
that's interesting. I mean, I feel like Netflix would use something AI related.
Yeah, especially
Right.
because they have so many movies, so many shows.
Not even
Some-
just that, but
Exactly.
multiple languages as
That-
well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like definitely AI.
And
yeah.
with the multiple languages thing, it actually makes it more difficult, I think, for AI. Because AI
Yeah.
right now, I don't think it's accurate in every language. You know,
Mhm.
I agree,
especially
100%.
Yeah.
certain niche languages that are not used all across
Yeah,
the
like some
world.
slang.
Yeah.
Slang and
Yeah.
accents.
So
Yes.
stuff like
some
that.
of the slang and some of like all those things get lost in translation,
Yeah.
which is why it cannot be accurate all the time. But they're working on it currently. I think it's better to do it with a third party, don't you think? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Think about third party and natively is if you do it natively, you have to build the whole software yourself. Okay. Netflix is a movie streaming service. Okay, them building an entire speech to text or text to speech software doesn't make sense for them. Okay, better just outsource it, save time. Their whole point of doing this is saving time because what used to happen like years ago is there's a person sitting down, literally going frame to frame, writing down the captions for
Yeah.
every movie, TV
I
show,
was just
right?
gonna ask, but
Yeah.
how did it
Exactly.
do it
So
before
now
for
it's
AI,
just-
you know?
Yeah, it's artificial
That's kind of
intelligence.
annoying.
It's live transcription.
It would take hours.
It would take hours. Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
That's crazy. Okay, well, there is another organization that uses AI, which is Zoom, which we pretty all know
We all,
about.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, yeah,
oh my god,
yeah.
2020 flashback, guys.
Oh my god.
Zoom was like
Sleeping
my
through
second
Zoom.
home. Oh yeah.
Sleeping
Hashtag
through
COVID.
classes. Okay, yeah, so basically Zoom can generate summaries of what you guys have talked about, like on Zoom. You know how some of us don't remember what we talked about?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Okay, so Zoom helps to generate summaries. You know how people don't remember like what you talk about during a Zoom class?
Oh my
Like
god.
for example, in 2020, we wouldn't remember what our teachers were talking about, like the content, like for example, bio stuff.
Like during class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Zoom can generate summary of it after the class has ended. So you can read it and see like all the important points that the professor talked about.
So this is like
Interesting.
beneficial. Like if someone missed class, they would be able to go back and read the summary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, if you weren't there while he was talking, you left to get like a drink of water or something.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
actually useful.
And
Yeah.
sometimes the professor would go so fast that I just cannot take notes. Like my hands would pain.
Yeah.
So I think that's really
That's interesting.
That's very
Yeah.
That's useful too. It's good.
Yeah, I know when. Oh, my bad. You interrupt.
Oh, my bad. You,
No.
okay.
I was gonna say like when I like use Zoom post class, they have searchability search bar, so you just like type in whatever word you're looking for, and they would just pop up.
Oh
That's
yeah.
where you just quickly find whatever. Especially like my math classes when they would mention like a certain formula, I didn't understand it at first. I would just type in the formula, and then that part of the video would pop up.
Yeah, it's very helpful for that.
That's really helpful.
Yeah. Also, another thing that it does is that it tells you who talks the most during a Zoom call. So you know how some people be talking a lot, like they be taking like 10 minutes talking, like 20, and you can't like captivate everything that they're saying because they're like telling you a lot of information, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it tells you like at the end, oh, this person, like for example, Maria talked a lot in the call. She lasted like 15 minutes straight talking about this topic.
It's actually funny.
Just yapping. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. And the last thing that AI helps for Zoom is it tells you like the tone that that speaker was talking in. Like if they sounded angry, sad, happy.
Really, that's crazy actually.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I actually didn't know that.
Wait, I think that would not
Yeah, I found it. I
Does
was
it like capitalize over like what? How do you know if
They're angry.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, there's like all caps when you're angry because I read this in an article
That's hilarious.
because I love reading, like doing research about it. So yeah, I read it somewhere.
Wait, Zoom is doing all this natively, like inside the application window?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So they
That's
develop
awesome.
the software
yeah,
specifically for this.
yeah.
Isn't that costly? I think that's gonna like.
Well,
it's actually a problem.
that's one of the first recommendations that we have is that it's
Yeah.
time efficient. So by using this, a lot of companies, like Kat said, it'll save us a lot of time because you won't have the need to write down everything you hear, everything you essentially see in slideshows or anything in Zoom meetings. So this will save people a lot of time, meaning they'll have more time to do maybe more important things, just as Kat said.
Plus,
Yeah,
for
that's
Zoom,
good.
it kind of makes sense for them to do it natively because it's expensive, but for Zoom, who's basically an online meeting service, it makes sense because
Yeah,
that's kind of like an investment.
It is an investment.
it is. Yeah, for sure.
One last task, I feel like it'll just save people time. It'll give you maybe an extra time to do something else. I think it benefits everybody essentially.
But guys, what is better, outsourcing or doing it natively?
Completely
Natively.
depends. No,
Natively?
No?
no way.
Really?
It depends. I mean, okay, as I said, Zoom, they need to have this. They need live transcriptions of their meetings because
You're right,
they're the leading industry people in this market segment.
Yeah.
For them, it made sense to spend millions of dollars in literally building brick by brick a machine learning software
Yeah.
that can recognize frequencies, convert them to binary, as I said, all that. But let's say for a startup who needs live transcriptions for their employees, how are they going to spend? Like building it natively is very, very expensive. So they're for them
You are
the
right,
best
yeah.
idea might just be like outsource it to like Amazon or any of the other people who do like these really, really good softwares on like really good pricing.
Well, does Microsoft Teams have this feature too?
Microsoft might just have their own model. Let me search up.
While you're searching that up, what do you have to say about this?
Earlier, I feel like another recommendation for using it is that, as you mentioned earlier, for Netflix, multiple languages, different accents, slang, all that stuff. I feel like AI transcription would be very useful for companies such as Netflix, maybe even
Definitely.
Hulu in
Yeah.
competition.
And a lot of other
Yeah, I
apps.
feel like they might fight over this
Every
too.
app, yeah.
Essentially, they're gonna start to fight, over this too, because a lot of companies are gonna want to start to use it, and even us as students, I feel like we will
100%.
have a need to use this when we miss class.
Yeah.
Those days.
It's the
Like,
most.
especially us as students, because
Yes.
I know like a lot of students like have learning impairments, like
Yes.
ADHD,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
HD,
Anything.
or yeah, anything,
Anything.
or like they
Anything,
can't
yeah.
concentrate in class. I know sometimes, like especially like management 340, like that big lecture.
Oh
Like
yeah.
sometimes, like in the
It's
back,
hard, yeah.
it's hard to hear, and like with this, like well, you could just go back to the transcript or the summary, and
Yeah.
then like you're caught up. Other than like having to like ask around, and maybe they weren't paying attention
Right.
either.
Yeah.
So like
No,
it just helps it so much. And then also, like just, I feel like as you guys were saying, like not coming to class, sometimes you just need a mental day. But
Yeah.
and then you like get so far behind.
Yeah.
It's like fudge. But
Yeah.
with this, you can just go back to the summary, the transcript, read it, just zoom through it, and then it's like you were
It's
there.
convenient. Like,
Very
why would you want to
convenient.
if you can just have a transcript of it, why would you want to show up to like every meeting, work meeting, or whatever? Like, obviously you would have to be there, but like.
I
it's
wish-
totally
The
easier.
commute.
Yeah.
I wish I knew about this in like the COVID days because I really did not. Back then, I was
Right.
actually taking physical notes. It was really taking
Yeah.
a toll.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So there you go, guys. This is not only time efficient, it is also helping organizations stay, essentially organized. It's helping them communicate, and it's also allowing us all to be productive.
Also,
Yes.
this one very niche application I could think of, right on top of my head, is court groups. Have you guys ever seen a court group?
Oh, yes.
That one person who's just
That is very niche. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, the
Tra-
there's like a
trans-
certain
yes.
job actually
Yes,
for
Is it
that.
transcript or
It's
anything?
transcript.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
literally go to
That.
college to do that. And
Yeah.
No,
that's
because
like
I think the
easier
keyboard's
than
not like a regular keyboard. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's a different one. It's like the
Typewriter.
old one is like
You
yeah.
have to be like
no,
really
yeah.
quick.
I feel like
It's
a
like
lot
a
of them
different
like
way.
Yeah.
So this
mishear
is-
words or
yeah.
overlook important information. I'll write it down.
Yeah.
So this could be used as a tool,
Yes.
essentially, but it won't replace jobs, will it?
Probably.
Kind of. will.
I mean, it
Definitely.
at some
Kind
In
of.
the
point.
future,
In the
in the
future,
far future.
Yeah.
That'll be on our next episode.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, guys.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So that was the 340 podcast about AI-powered transcripts, where they talked about 3 different companies that use it and also 3 different recommendations, so that we are more knowledgeable. We don't need that anymore. Also, there are many other companies that are doing this, like Auto AI, Happy Scribe, and Trinks. So, what do you think is the future of AI transcripts? Are people going to do it anymore? Are people going to take notes anymore? Or is it just going to completely replace note taking? What do you think? What do they think?